Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Matthew Mark Nichols, and today I am going to teach you everything I possibly know about money in Costa Rica. I've been working, traveling, and living in Costa Rica for the last 5 years, and I've learned a plethora about the money system. The good things, some of the struggles, and all the little tips and tricks that can kind of help you out if you happen to be traveling or coming to Costa Rica. Now, when working with Costa Rican money, you are going to be dealing with the colon in Costa Rica. Plural is a colones. And when you're holding Costa Rican bills, you might feel like a millionaire. Let me tell you why. Because the colones in the bill form is in millions. Here are some examples. You'll have 5 different types of bills that you can be holding or dealing with at any certain time. You will have 20 million, 10 million, 5 million, 2 million, and a 1 million. Another neat thing they do here with the bills is they make all the sizes a little bit smaller. So from the largest down to the smallest, the bills will get a little bit smaller. Helps people to know which denomination you have. So just kind of another cool thing that they do here. When you're handling the coins, you'll be dealing with 8 different varieties of coin. The first is the normal 500 colony, which looks like that. And then there are 2 very special limited edition prints that the country made. The first one is their bicentennial 500, which is a little different. It's a little bit smaller, has gold around the outside, and then on the back, you're going to see a globe, a flame, and a rendition of the country. And that celebrates 200 years of Costa Rica being a country. And then the most recent one that they minted is the one for 175 years of being a federation. It's very similar on the front. And then on the back, you're going to have 2 of their country's crest from their flag that you can see. So the 500 is going to come in 3 different forms. It's kind of special if you get one of the limited editions. Some people like to collect those. They're kind of neat. Some people don't think anything of it, but you'll see the large 500, which is the normal one, and then the 2 special edition coins that have been minted. The next largest coin you'll see is the 100 colones. Those have the crest from the flag on the back. You'll have a 50 colones, also with the crest of the flag on the back. Then you'll have a 25 colones, again with the crest on the back. And then you have 2 smaller coins, which you find on the ground a lot and aren't really valued a whole lot, even though they still spend the same and they help you buy things. You'll have a 10 colones coin, which also has the crest on the back. And then the last one is the 5 colones, which again aren't too popular, but they do spend the same. And again, you'll have the crest on the back. One of the things that you're going to want to be aware of when you're spending a lot of colones bills in Costa Rica is that you are going to get a lot of change back. So if you're traveling here and you're just here for a short amount of time, just know that you're going to have a good handful of change that's going to come with the bills that you're spending. A lot of people just give it away as a tip or do something nice for somebody. Some people like to take a couple as a collection. I'm not advocating that, but just telling you that some people like to collect those or have those as a souvenir. But you will get a lot of change when you're spending your bills in the restaurants and the souvenir shops and any other places that you're spending colones bills. So just know that you're going to have a pocket full of change toward the end of your trip. Or if you live here, you might fill a whole jar and you'll have to decide what your special thing is that you're going to do with it. Since I arrived back in December, I've had a huge pile, and I've been going through that recently for smaller purchases just to get rid of some of those, but you will have a lot. One of the things I recommend to everybody before you even leave your country is to download the XE app, which looks like this. It has helped me in so many ways since I've been here in Costa Rica. Essentially what it does is it takes your country's currency and it compares it to the Costa Rican colones and gives you an idea of what the exchange rate is for that day. So if you're at a bank, or in the airport, which I don't recommend and I'll talk about, or you're spending money on something, you can look at the app and it'll tell you how much your money should be for that purchase or for the colones for that time. So it's very valuable and will help you out immensely in a number of different situations. So again, highly recommend that you have that app when you come to the country, and you'll be able to compare your currency and the exchange rate on a regular basis. Don't forget it. People also ask me about bringing cash to the country. So it is recommended that you bring some cash of your country's currency. Again, here if we're talking about dollars, USD, they do have a limit. So if you're coming with a big roll of bills, your limit will be $10,000. Anything over that, you'll have to stop and report that when you get to the airport. But it is recommended that you bring some bills so that you have that for different exchanges, different expenditures, and you won't have to struggle at any of the ATMs if you're going to any of the towns or particular villages that might be a little bit smaller and don't have those resources for you. So bringing some money is a good idea, but just know that if you're thinking of bringing a big chunk of cash, if you have some kind of expenditure you have to make, that the country's limit is $10,000. Anything over $10,000, you will have to claim that at the airport when you arrive. So just be aware of that as well. And when we're talking about bills, I do want to point out something very, very important, that should you bring bills and you want to go to a bank and exchange that money, which we'll talk more about again in a little bit here, you want to make sure that you're bringing quality bills. What do I mean by quality bills? Most people are probably going to be bringing $20 bills if you're coming from the United States. This particular bill that you're looking at right now is in very good shape. It is highly, highly recommended that your bills are in good shape for this reason. If there are any kind of discrepancies, if the bill, for example, I happen to have a $1 bill here, if there are any tears in any part of your $20 bill, or it's badly wrinkled, or it just looks worn, they will not accept it here. So you need to know that. So again, if you're coming here with your own amount of cash, make sure that prior to coming here, you go to your bank and talk to them and ask them to give you quality bills that you can bring with you. Bills that don't have bent corners, there's nothing torn off, you don't have any rips, because they will not accept them. They're very particular about that here, and it can cause you a lot of trouble if you're needing to make that exchange. So something to be very aware of when you're bringing bills into the country. The next thing people ask about is exchanging money. So here are some things you're going to want to think about for that. We recommend that you don't exchange money at the airports when you first arrive. They usually don't give the best exchange rate. Why that is, I'm not sure, because they can, I guess. But you don't always get the best exchange rate. Even though you're anxious to get some colones in your hand to have to spend, we recommend that you wait until you get to the next town that you're going to, or if you happen to be in the bigger city and you're at a place where they have an ATM, use your card and you can withdraw colones there. Or if you happen to be going to a place where the next day you can go to a bank, that would also be highly recommended. But you want to try to stay away from exchanging at the airports when you first get there, because you just don't get very good exchange rate. Just something to think about. Okay, banks. Here are some things you're going to want to know about exchanging at banks. Most important, you have to have your passport. You can't exchange money by going to a bank without having your passport. Again, you're going to want to have those better bills with you. For the most part, the banks are pretty good at accepting that, but again, it's just generally a good idea to make sure that you have good bills if you're exchanging your country's currency at one of the banks. You will usually get a decent exchange rate. It's not going to be the greatest. You're not going to get the exact exchange rate that you see on your app that we talked about, but you will get a very decent exchange rate at the banks. It's usually very fair and very good, so that's something to consider as well. Now, taking that a step further and considering the ATMs, here are some things you want to think about. Most of your debit and credit cards are going to work in the ATMs. We do recommend that you talk to your bank before you head on vacation from whatever country you're coming from. Let them know that you'll be spending outside of your country. They will usually do a good job of opening up or clearing whatever transactions you need. When you go to an ATM, from what I've experienced so far, you're probably going to see a 500 colonie charge from the bank, which I think is 96 cents or about 96 cents when it comes down to it, which isn't too bad. A lot of times your bank in the country you're coming from will also have a charge. I found that on my purchases here in Costa Rica, I usually have anywhere from a 50 cent to a $1 or $2 charge on the purchases I have, and that'll vary from country to country. But again, check with your bank, let them know that you're going on vacation, and it's going to alleviate a lot of problems that you'll have when you're doing your withdrawals and your spending. But again, when you're going through your ATMs, the banks will usually have a very good exchange rate. They will give you a small charge, but you'll get a decent rate on the money that you're getting, the colones you're getting. And try to remember that when you're taking money out of the ATMs that you usually want to take out colones. They can ask you for colones or whatever denomination it is from your country that you'll be taking. But we do recommend that you take out colones. That's what they'll be accepting here. That's what they'll be taking. And you're going to get a genuine exchange rate when you're spending colones in the country. Again, if you take out your own bills, then you're dealing with the exchange rate again. There could be gringo pricing or expat pricing where you don't quite get as good of a rate as you should get. And that's where that app helps out again. You'll be in a much better place if you simply take out colones from the start, and then you'll have that to spend in the different places that you'll be going to. It's just going to make things a lot easier and a lot more convenient for you. The last thing we like to touch on is restaurants. People always have a lot of questions about that. What should I look for? Should I be tipping? So here are a couple of things you want to consider as it relates to money and the restaurants. As you look at your receipt, you're going to see a 13% sales tax. That's standard. You'll see that on every receipt. You're also going to see in the restaurants a 10% tax, and that is going towards your server's tip or their gratuity. So it's already added into the receipt. So I guess we say that if you feel that you got excellent service and it was above and beyond, that you could tip a little bit more. That's always pretty good to do. A lot of people just do it because they're used to that. In the United States, it's usually 15 or 20%, but it's not expected here because they already have it into the receipt. So I guess it depends on the individual, how you felt about the service. If that's something you like to do, leave that up to yourself to make those decisions. But again, you'll see a 13% tax and the 10% gratuity, which should be on every receipt that you'll see in the restaurants. Pretty standard. All right, guys, that's it. That's the 411 on cash. Hopefully that helped and gave you some new perspective and background. If you're thinking of coming to Costa Rica or traveling in Costa Rica, some more ideas about money. If you're someone who's been here before and you have some good ideas or some things that have worked for you or some things that maybe I didn't mention, please put those down in the comments to help anybody out who might be considering coming here, to give them some other background on money. Thanks again to my two viewers. Appreciate you. For anyone else coming along for the adventure, I appreciate you being here as well. Please hit that like and subscribe button, as it'll help my channel to grow, and hitting the notification bell so you know when new videos will be coming out. Once again, thanks for being here, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.